Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajakacarya Stottra Satashe Srimati Stivan Kesavai Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Namam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajakacarya Stottra Satashe Srimati Stivan Kesavai Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Patta Raghunath Shri Jiv Gopal Bhattas Raghunath Sada Goswami Prabhu Maharaj Srila Prabhupada की जय। प्रेम से को श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिव सदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। श्री ब्रजभूमि मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। श्री मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की जय। श्री पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। श्री श्री गौर निताय कृष्ण बलराम श्री राधा श्याम सुंदर ललिता विशाखा देवी की जय। गंगा माई यमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। सामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम श्रीमद् भगवद-गीता श्रीमद् चैतन्य चरितामृता की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu. Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pustaya. Shruti Vidyasmaya. So we are reading from Bhagavad-Gita as it is, chapter number 18, sloka number 66. Everyone is very conversant with this sloka, isn't it? Yeah, the ultimate high command. Sarva-dharmān parityajya mām ekam śaraṇaṁ vraja ahaṁ tvām sarva-pāpebhyo mokṣayiṣyāmi ma śucaḥ. Sarva-dharmān parityajya mām ekam śaraṇaṁ vraja ahaṁ tvām sarva-pāpebhyo mokṣayiṣyāmi ma śucaḥ. Sarva-dharmān parityajya mām ekam śaraṇaṁ vraja ahaṁ tvām sarva-pāpebhyo mokṣayiṣyāmi ma śucaḥ. Sarva-dharmān, all varieties of religion. Parityajya, abandoning. Mām, unto me. Ekam, only. śaraṇaṁ, for surrender. Vraja, go. Aham, I. Tvām, you. Sarva, all. Pāpebhyaḥ, from sinful reactions. Mokṣayiṣyāmi, will deliver. Ma, do not. Śucaḥ, worry. Repeat after me the translations. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Lord has described various kinds of knowledge and processes of religion. Knowledge of the Supreme Brahman, knowledge of the Supersoul, knowledge of the different types of orders and statuses of social life, knowledge of the renounced order of life, knowledge of non-attachment, sense and mind control, meditation, etc. He has described in so many ways different types of religion. Now in summarizing Bhagavad-Gita, the Lord says that Arjuna should give up all the processes that have been explained to him. He should simply surrender to Krishna. That surrender will save him from all kinds of sinful reactions, for the Lord personally promises to protect him. In the 7th chapter it was said that only one who has become free from all sinful reactions can take to the worship of Lord Krishna. Thus one may think that unless he is free from all sinful reactions, he cannot take to the surrendering process. To such doubts, it is here said that even if one is not free from all sinful reactions, simply by the process of surrendering to Sri Krishna, he is automatically freed. There is no need of strenuous effort to free oneself from sinful reactions. One should unhesitatingly accept Krishna as the supreme savior of all living entities. with faith and love, one should surrender unto him. The process of surrender to Krishna is described in the Hari Bhakti Vilasa 11th chapter, 676th verse. Pretty long chapter. Anukulyasya sankalpaha pratikulyasya varjanam. Everybody repeat. Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam rakshishyati vishwaso gopatrave varanam tatha atmanikshepa karpanye sadvidha sharanagati. It is very auspicious to recite these verses together. According to the devotional process, one should simply accept such religious principles that will lead ultimately to the devotional service of the Lord. One may perform a particular occupational duty according to his position in the social order. But if by executing his duty, one does not come to the point of Krishna consciousness, all his activities are in vain. Anything that does not lead to the perfectional stage of Krishna consciousness should be avoided. One should be confident that in all circumstances Krishna will protect him from all difficulties. And there is no need of thinking how one should keep the body and soul together. Krishna will see to it, will see to that. One should always think himself helpless and should consider Krishna the only basis for his progress in life. As soon as one seriously engages himself in devotional service to the Lord in full Krishna consciousness, at once he becomes freed from all contamination of material nature. There are different processes of religion and purificatory processes by cultivation of knowledge, meditation in the mystic yoga system, etc. But one who surrenders unto Krishna does not have to execute so many methods. That simple surrender unto Krishna will save him from unnecessarily wasting time. One can thus make all progress at once and be freed from all sinful reactions. One should be attracted by the beautiful vision of Krishna. His name is Krishna because he is all attractive. One who becomes attracted by the beautiful, all-powerful, omnipotent vision of Krishna is fortunate. There are different kinds of transcendentalists. Some of them are attached to the impersonal Brahman vision. Some of them are attracted by the supersoul feature, etc. But one who is attracted to the personal feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and above all, one who is attracted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Krishna himself, is the most perfect transcendentalist. In other words, devotional service to Krishna in full consciousness is the most confidential part of knowledge, and this is the essence of the whole Bhagavad-Gita. Karma yogis, empiric philosophers, mystics and devotees are all called transcendentalists. But one who is a pure devotee is the best of all. The particular words used here, Ma sucaḥ, don't fear, don't hesitate, don't worry, are very significant. One may be perplexed as to how one can give up all kinds of religious forms and simply surrender unto Krishna, but such worry is useless. Om Agyantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantim Vande Aham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunata Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamsam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Visute Devi Pranamami Haribri Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Sarva-dharmān parityajya mām ekaṁ śaraṇaṁ vraja. Ahaṁ tvām sarva-pāpebhyo mokṣayiṣyāmi mā śucaḥ. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. In the year 1999, I'm just going back in the history about 22 years back. We had a desire, we were living in Papua New Guinea. I had a very, massive, serious car accident. And I was thinking to change the way I was living. So I had no idea about what should that change be. So I was talking to my wife that we should have some bhajan and kirtan at our place. And I really wanted to give up the sinful ways of living. So then what happened is that a friend of mine from Brisbane called me up, and he said that, please open the door. And so he said that the temple president of Brisbane temple, he actually wants to come to your place. He says he actually wants to come to Leh in Papua New Guinea, and he would like to conduct some bhajan. And this is exactly what we wanted to do. So, and they are vegetarians, they don't eat onion, garlic, connected with ISKCON. We had no idea about ISKCON at all. So then Tirtharaj Prabhu then, who was a temple president in Brisbane, he came along with his wife, Taraka Mataji, and said, Prabhu, can we do some program? Yes, that's what basically we were thinking that, you will do. So let's have a program. And he did the program, and he actually picked up this verse, sarva-dharmān parityajya. So, and this was so much touched our heart. At that point of time, Prabhu is a very potent preacher, obviously, that when we migrated from Papua New Guinea to Australia, from the very first day we said that let us go to the temple and, start attending Bhagavad-Gita and Bhagavatam, these discourses. So very profound impact. So this verse is a special place and significance in our life, that from Srila Prabhupada's book Bhagavad-Gita as it is the first verse that we read. Normally, people would start from the introduction, right? So we started from the very end, and it touched our heart. And quite a few people who were then present in our home, they also became devotees. They also migrated to Australia, and they all became devotees. So before we go further and make some analysis on this verse, let's try to understand this section of Bhagavad Gita is so important. Krishna has almost concluded Bhagavad Gita with this instruction. It is called ultimate high command. And just before this, he speaks man mana bhav mad bhakto. And just before that, he says, Shrunu me paramam vacha, sarva-guhyatamam, sarva-guhyatamam. Means in all scriptures, I am going to speak the most confidential instruction to you for your benefit. Why? Because you are very dear to me. Krishna tells Arjuna. And then he repeats, man mana bhav mad bhakto. The essence of all the scriptures. Just analyze, the body of the knowledge that is contained in the Vedas. If every verse of Veda is written on a palm leaf, right? The palm leaf is pretty big, and that is what basically Vedas were originally written on by the disciples of actually Vedvyas, as he was speaking and as Ganesh was writing, right? I think the Vrindavan, Mathura, all the way up to Agra, Delhi, all the houses will be full. So many verses are there. So 4 Vedas have how many Upanishads? 108 Upanishads. And here Krishna has a job of giving us the essence of the essence instructions in about how much? An hour and 45 minutes, an hour and 30 minutes? That's what roughly I've heard, was the discourse between Arjuna and Krishna on the battlefield. So the Vedas, the four Vedas, the various chapters are divided into 4 sections. There is a Samhita, there is a Brahmanas, there is Aranyaka, and then there is Upanishad. So the Upanishad is a philosophical part of basically Veda. Right? You need to be a profound Sanskrit scholar to be able to understand Samhita and Brahmanas and Aranyakas. But everything is condensed in the philosophical analysis through the Upanishads. And Upanishads are the subject matter of the study for the Jnanis. And when these Jnanis advance in their sadhana, they study the Vedanta. So the Upanishads, 108 Upanishads, right? Now Krishna is compacting this Vedic philosophy. Bhagavad-Gita is a summary study of, the Upanishad, which is summary study of the Vedas. So Bhagavad-Gita is a summary study of the Vedas. Sarvo-panishado gao. All Upanishads, if they are considered as a cow, right? Dogdha Gopala Nandana. Dogdha Gopala Nandana. He is milking this cow. Partho Vats. The cow will not yield the milk unless there is a calf standing in front of it. Vatsa. So who is that Vatsa? Arjun. Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta. Sudhir Bhokta. Sudhir means the one who are wise, right? Sudhir Bhokta, the enjoyer. Dugdam Gitam Rutam Mahat. So Krishna is milking all the Upanishads and he is taking out, the essence of the essence and he's putting over here. And after speaking, all these 17 adhyayas, he is now coming to an end and telling Arjuna, because you are very dear to me, I'm going to actually speak the instructions for your ultimate benefit. That is us. We are Sudhir Bhokta. So Arjuna is an agency through which Bhagavad-Gita is spoken to be meant to be heard by us. We are the drinkers of this milk, actually speaking. Yes, Arjuna did test. The calf always tests, the milk, and then, that Maha Prasad goes to actually everybody. Remember, the calf actually first takes the udder of the mother in its mouth, and it basically sucks the milk, and after that, whatever milk comes, it likes Maha Prasad, right? So it has actually come. Arjuna is the member of a disciplic succession to whom Bhagavad-Gita is spoken by the Lord. And then, the disciples have just disseminated the spiritual knowledge. So we are Sudhir Bhokta. So, and Krishna says, Sarva Guhyatmam Bhuyaha. Bhuyaha means again. I'm going to speak it again because it is so important. And he spoke Man Manapava Madhabhakto. So, yes, there is an instruction, the ultimate instruction to become the devotee. But then he repeated, the second instruction, which is subservient to 1865, that how to become the devotee. And here he explains, sarva-dharmān parityajya, mam ekam śaraṇaṁ vraja. This is how one becomes the devotee of the Lord. Now, this is where the Bhagavad-Gita is ending and Srimad Bhagavatam begins. These instructions, are actually taken into Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam begins with Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadi Yasya and Param Satyam Dhimahi. So this is glorification of Krishna as supreme absolute truth, who should only be the object of my meditation. And 1.1.2 is Dharma Projihito Kaitavo Atra Parmo Nirmat Śaraṇaṁ Satam. Means all the all the dharmas and everything which has been said in various Puranas. Vedvyas has finally come to his senses through the mercy of his spiritual master Narad Muni, who has said that you have wasted time if you have not glorified, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So you should write the scripture. After such a mammoth job of writing 4 Vedas, 17 Puranas, and Vedanta? Yeah. No, Vedanta was written afterwards. So Vedanta was also written. See, immediately after the 4 Vedas were written, he asked his disciples to produce the commentaries on the Vedas. So the 5 of his disciples, like Gautama, Kannada, Jaimini, Kapila, and Patanjali, they actually wrote, the Tika on actually Vedanta. They are the commentaries on Vedanta. And they are impersonal commentaries on basically Vedanta Sutra. And Vedvyas finally negated all their impersonalistic theories and produced the personalistic version, right, in the form of Vedanta. So Vedanta is a commentary on Vedas. And then basically 17 Puranas, and finally Srimad Bhagavatam was composed in his highest spiritual maturity. Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krute Kimva Pareri Ishvara. What is the need of any other scripture? Srimad Bhagavatam is composed in the highest spiritual maturity by Vedvyas, right? Who is body of knowledge personified. So Srimad Bhagavatam is a commentary on Vedanta. Vedanta is a commentary on the Veda. Upanishads are essence of Vedas, and Bhagavad-Gita is the commentary on the Upanishads of the Vedas. So here we study Srimad Bhagavad-Gita, which is basically the commentary on Vedas. And we study Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the commentary on Vedanta. So we do not have there is no need for us to study the Vedas, and there is no need for us to study the Vedantas separately, because we get the entire essence of entire summary study of the Vedas through Bhagavad Gita, and of entire Vedanta through Srimad Bhagavatam. So here you go. But Krishna has really done a compaction. 700 verses, 108 Upanishads, the body of the knowledge, right? Just compacted, and in that he says these are the essence of the essence of the essence instructions. So sarva-dharmān parityajya ekaṁ śaraṇaṁ vraja, ahaṁ tvām sarva-pāpebhyo mokṣayiṣyāmi ma śucaḥ. Question arises. After speaking about, as just Srila Prabhupada writes, after speaking about the various bodies of knowledge, the varnashrama dharma in great detail, the various types of dharmas explained in the Vedas, why is Krishna asking us to reject? Why is Krishna asking us to reject? Why sarva-dharmān parityajya? Why can't we follow the other principles of religion and at the same time surrender to Krishna? Is it possible or is it not possible?
Not possible.
Why? Is there any reason why sarva-dharmān parityajya is spoken? You say it is not possible, right? Yeah. Any other, just realization on this aspect? This aspect is very important, because here practically Krishna is negating everything that he has spoken. And he's asking us to take an exclusive surrender of Krishna. Why is he doing this? There is a wonderful verse. Yeah, you want to say something?
Maybe that could be a point of distraction.
That could be the point of distraction, yeah. Good point.
We can think that this could be in that way instead of surrendering completely to Krishna. There is an alternative, so it's like mine is chanchal, maybe going that way.
Okay, that's good. Yes, Prabhu?
Because Krishna says in one of the verses, I don't remember the verse name, we have Satvika Buddhi, Eka Kuru Nandan, Shaka. So it's like multi-branch, rather than going for multiple branches, we should just stick to one religion, which is the eternal religion, Sanatana Dharma. So that's why he's saying that sarva-dharmān parityajya.
Very good. Yeah, that's also a very nice explanation. Yes, Prabhu?
So that you will save time.
So that we will save time. There is no need. And basically come to the point. Excellent. What else?
Because he loves us very much. He wants us to come back soon. So he's saying that you come directly to me. Don't go ahead.
Okay. Good. Just come to the point. Just come and, just surrender unto me. I want you to come back to the spiritual world. So why you are wasting time? Yeah, it's good. Ekeha Kuru Nandana. What else?
In Vedas, 80,000 Slokas are on Karam Kand. The Lord is saying that Abrahma Bhuna Loka Punravartine. You will go there to enjoy heavenly planets. But surrender to me, that is bad.
Correct. Okay. So these are all very, very, valid answers. In the 8th chapter, 28th verse, Krishna says, Vedeshu yagneshu tapasu chaiva daneshu yat punya phalam pradishtam. He's saying by study of the Vedas, by giving, by actually giving charity, by earning all the piety through performing the sacrifices, by performing, the austere penances. So, all fruitive activities, by, study of the Vedas, you acquire the knowledge. The yajna is concerned with, performance of the fruitive activities. Tapasu means Ashtanga yoga and everything. By doing everything, he says, daneshu yat punya phalam pradishtam atyati tat sarvamidam viditva yogi param dhamam upeti chadyam. Krishna says that by performing devotional service, you are not bereft of any of the results. In fact, whatever the piety you acquire by the study of the Vedas, by making the charity, by performing, the sacrifices, by undergoing the penances, by going and taking bath in all the holy rivers all over the universe, right? Doing all this, you attain it just by a simple process of devotional service. Man mana bhav mad bhakto. So, if you become my devotee, right, you do not have to perform any of this. So reject them, abandon. There is a logic, you understand? He says, why do you want to do that? You have already you have already come to the top rung of the ladder. Why actually do you want to go down? What will you do if you not, just surrender to me? Either you will be engrossed in performing the sacrifices. I am giving you that benefit. The devotional service has got bhukti, mukti, siddhi embedded within bhakti. Why do you want to actually take up all these paths? It is already there. It is not that you are going to be the loser. So once you surrender unto me and become my devotee, right, all this, the religious practices are not required to be followed. So just abandon them. That is this very important part. That is he contradicting himself? Right? He is, Vedeshu sarvesu aham eva vidyo. By all Vedas I am to be known anyway. So if you will follow any of the Vedic path, you will eventually come to the conclusion that you will know me. And after knowing me, what will you do? You will surrender unto me. Bahunam janma namante 7.19 Jnanavan, one who has got all the knowledge, mam prapadyante. He just surrenders unto me. Vasudevam sarvamiti sa mahatma sududlabha. So, there is no need for you to study the Vedas. This is basically, there is no need for you to perform any yajnas. There is no need for you to give any charity. These are good practices for one who has not surrendered. So he says, until you come to the point of surrendering to me, right, the sacrifices, charity, austerity should not be given up. The prescribed duty should not be given up. But once you come to the point of accepting me as a Supreme Personality of Godhead, and want to devote your life in exclusive surrender unto me, these things are not required. Because by doing these things, you will come to this point anyway. If you were to go through all the Vedic processes, right, you will come to the point of accepting Krishna as a Supreme Person. And when you know Krishna is a Supreme Person, what are you going to do? You will take a next step, surrender. So it's sarva-dharmān parityajya. You come to the point now. You become my devotee. See, this instruction is spoken after 1865, in which says, man mana bhav mad bhakto. Become my devotee. And if you become my devotee, sarva-dharmān parityajya, it's not required. Mam ekaṁ, he is commanding exclusive, just surrender to me only. So many verses in Bhagavad-Gita where Krishna actually explains, very logically and very scientifically, why we should not get involved with the worship of the demigods. So, sarva-dharmān parityajya mamekam śaraṇaṁ vraja, ahaṁ tvām sarva-pāpebhyo mokṣayiṣyāmi ma śucaḥ. So, naturally the question arises that if we give up all the Vedic practices, then shall we not incur the sinful reactions? And Krishna says, ahaṁ tvām sarva-pāpebhyo. Now, there are 4 types of sinful reactions. Those who have studied the nectar of devotion, they are aware that as soon as you perform a sinful activity, the 4 4 types of sinful reactions accrue to us. What are they? There is a aprarabdha, the sinful reaction which is yet to manifest. There is a kuta, there is a sinful proclivities within our heart to act in a certain sinful way. Right? That experience from performing a sinful activity goes and becomes embedded within our consciousness. That kuta can be transformed into a bija, the sinful desire seed. And the next step is that we will perform a sinful activity. So when we perform a sinful activity, we have to obviously, go through the suffering. And when we perform a pious activity, we have to enjoy the fruits of that pious activity. So when that reaction is taking time to manifest, it is called aprarabdha. Aprarabdha means something which is not manifested. And prarabdha means something which is manifested. So there are 4 sinful reactions. And aprarabdha phalam papam. There is a verse in Padma Purana that says that they are destroyed in gradual succession. Kutam bijam falonmukham. Falonmukham. Kramenaiva praliyeta. They are destroyed one by one. Vishnu bhakti ratatmanaha. One who is involved in the worship of Vishnu, that is Krishna, these 3 sinful reactions go straight away, actually in the order. Aprarabdha, kuta, and bija. They actually go away in this order. Kramenaiva praliyeta, Vishnu bhakti ratatmanam. But what about prarabdha? What about prarabdha? Is prarabdha not destroyed? There are 4 sinful reactions, correct? Kuta, the inclination to act in a certain way. Kuta becomes bija when dhyayato vishayan pumsam sangateshu upajayate. As soon as you come, as soon as you meditate upon the sense object, right, the kuta is activated. Sangateshu upajayate. Sangha means, and then sangat sanjayate kama. This is kuta becoming bija. Kuta becoming bija, sinful desire. So the proclivity is transformed into the desire, and immediately a sinful activity is performed. And that reaction has to be entered either now, which is prarabdha, or later, which is aprarabdha. Prarabdha very simply means this body. What is our prarabdha? After doing all the karmas, what do you get in your next life? Is one body in 8.4 million species of life? That's all you get? Either you get a human form of life or animal species, or you become an insect or a tree or the bird or tree or just whatever. So the prarabdha is the body, and Krishna does not destroy prarabdha because prarabdha is required, your body is required to execute devotional service. So the prarabdha is purified. Chinmaya deha. Satchidananda vigraha. Prarabdha is purified once we become pure by executing the devotional service, right? Then we are going to get a Chinmaya deha. That is Krishna's way of purifying the prarabdha. The body is there, but that body does not become the cause of distress. The body is there, but it does not become the cause of distress. So it is as good as the material body. We are not concerned with our material body. We utilize that, we give it to Krishna, and Krishna utilizes that body for the various enjoyment or the services that he does through us. Didn't Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told just Sanatana Goswami when he wanted to give up his life under the cart of just Lord Jagannath? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you got no right. Whose property you are trying to destroy? That's my body. And Sanatana Goswami was clearly basically instructed. So the prarabdha for a surrendered devotee, the body belongs to Krishna because he utilizes the body in the service of Krishna. So that's the reason the Krishna does not destroy the body straight away, but the other 3 sinful reactions are taken away. In the morning Bhagavatam class today, 10.14.8, this verse was taken up. That why devotees, surrendered devotees, why do they have to suffer the sinful reactions? Devotees actually don't suffer, the reactions from, the sinful activities. But as devotees, because, there is some trace of Kuta and Bija, some subtle trace of Kuta and Bija left. And because we perform seva, because of our impurity and we are not fully pure yet, we may commit seva aparadha, we may commit Vaishnava aparadha, we may commit Jiva aparadha, and we may commit Nama aparadha. So, the reactions that we get, whether by way of a disease or whatever, is because of the aparadha. It's not because of the sinful reactions. Sinful reactions are all destroyed. How they are destroyed and when they are destroyed? At the time of initiation. Sarva-dharmān parityajya ekaṁ śaraṇaṁ vraja. Initiation is, the process where we declare ourselves surrendered to the bona fide spiritual master, or to the spiritual master who is a bona fide representative of disciplic succession beginning with Krishna. Right? So we surrender to Krishna through bona fide spiritual master. At that stage, at the time of Diksha, these reactions are destroyed. Diksha gives you the transcendental knowledge. Di means to give, Ksha means to destroy. So Di means to give. What does Diksha? Empowers you with the transcendental knowledge, and with transcendental knowledge, Kuta and Bija in the heart is completely neutralized. Get my point? And aprarabdha is the mercy by Krishna. He just destroys that. Then after that, and prarabdha is utilized in the service of Krishna. But in the course of service, in the course of interaction with the devotees, right? In our day-to-day dealings of worshipping the deities or whatever, some aparadhas are invariably, just committed. And in order to correct us, Krishna gives us slap here and there. That is basically, the little reactions that we face. So the devotees are not suffering. Devotees under the control of the Yogmaya, they do not suffer the reactions of sinful activities. No, they are destroyed. Sinful reactions are destroyed. Kramenaiva praliyeta Vishnu bhakti ratatmana. One who has taken the path of Vishnu bhakti, his sinful reactions don't exist. A prarabdha is left so that the devotee, reaches a pure state of, the consciousness before going to spiritual world. And ekaṁ śaraṇaṁ vraja. So, if you analyze basically Bhagavad-Gita and the Vedic scriptures, right, we have a sambandha, abhideya, and prayojana. And the four principal themes which are going through, Srimad Bhagavad-Gita, four principal themes is knowledge, surrender, devotion, and the reciprocation. You analyze Chatusloki Bhagavad-Gita or many sections of the Bhagavad-Gita, right? Krishna is giving this body of knowledge to come to the point of surrender. When you surrender to Krishna and perform the activities of bhakti, you gradually, become attracted to Krishna and the devotion arouses within the heart. So knowledge is a foundation for surrender. Surrender is the basis for the devotion. And at that stage, reciprocation begins. So here in this verse, you see the two themes flowing. Sarva-dharmān parityajya ekaṁ śaraṇaṁ vraja is your part, what you are supposed to do. That is surrender. Ahaṁ tvām sarva-pāpebhyo mokṣayiṣyāmi ma śucaḥ. That I will do it. Krishna says, that is the reciprocation. So that is what, this is how basically, from a thematic angle if you see, right, Krishna, there are so many verses in the middle 6 chapters especially where Krishna says that's how he lovingly reciprocates with the devotees. So these four themes are in a seed form in Bhagavad-Gita and they all expand in a very big way in Srimad Bhagavatam. Virtually every section of Bhagavatam can be related to certain section of Bhagavad-Gita. So Bhagavad-Gita is a seed form. Bhagavatam is like, the big tree. Or, the Vedic tree, Bhagavatam is Nigam Kalpataror. Matured tree, matured fruit of basically Vedic tree. So these four themes are there. So here Krishna is telling, in the previous verse, in 1864 he says, you are very dear to me. I'm going to tell you something in your interest here. And in Man Manabhav Mad Bhakto, he says, I'm promising you, you will come to me, become my devotee. And here he says, sarva-dharmān parityajya ekam śaraṇaṁ vraja, ahaṁ tvām sarva-pāpebhyo mokṣayiṣyāmi ma śucaḥ. Don't fear. Don't worry. Prabhupada says his words are very, very significant. So I think basically we've got 5-7 minutes left. I would like to conclude here. I mean, there is a lot to speak. And is there any comments, questions? Yes?
Prabhuji, you said that our sinful reactions are destroyed at the time of initiation. So which initiation is this? Harinam or Brahman?
Harinam.
Harinam.
Correct. And basically, the Brahmin initiation, you become empowered with a transcendental knowledge. When the spiritual master chants the Gayatri mantra through the right ear and it enters the heart, right, all 4 Vedas become established through the agency of Gayatri in your heart. Gayatri becomes your mother. You are empowered now, right? You will be revealed the purports of the Veda based on your faith in the words of your spiritual master and Krishna. Everything can become revealed to you. Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj was illiterate, but he was most realized. These are revealed scriptures, right? Bhagavad-Gita is revealed to basically Arjuna. Bhagavatam is revealed to Parikshit Maharaj. And Lord Narayan reveals the spiritual world to Brahma in Brahma Samhita. So we have got these 3 revealed scriptures. So once the transcendental knowledge is there, it will counteract Kuta and Bija. Kuta and Bija are not destroyed, actually speaking, they are replaced. It is as good as basically destruction. Can we become the desireless? No. The proclivity to act will always be there. The desire will always be there. It is just that this is replaced by the higher taste. Param drashtva nivartate.
They are done at the time of Harinam initiation.
Yes.
And only one more question.
Yes.
There are 8 stages in bhakti, from Shraddha to Prem. So there is one stage of anarth nivritti. So is this the stage which is equivalent to destruction of
No.
reactions?
Destruction of sinful reactions has got nothing to do with anartha nivritti. Don't basically mistake it. Sinful reactions is what you are destined to suffer. That is destroyed. Anarthas can still linger in the heart. You are still in Maya. You may still act sinfully. You got to be careful to actually avoid that. You see, in the process of going back to Godhead, there are 3 people involved. One is us, another is spiritual master, third is Krishna. What does spiritual master do? He removes avidya. He gives us the knowledge. Avidya. What do? We remove aparadha, another A. So when the spiritual master removes avidya, and based in transcendental knowledge, we remove the aparadha, because we need to know what the aparadhas are, correct? When actually Guru Maharaj gives you the initiation, what does he speak in the class? He speaks about the 10 offenses against the holy name. You see all the basically initiation classes? He has to speak about 10 offenses against the holy name. So he is removing the avidya. You are removing aparadha, and Krishna is removing anartha. What stage anartha is going? Chatusloki Bhagavad-Gita. Tesham eva anukampartham aham ajnana jantama nashyami atma bhavasto jnana dipena bhasvata. Uske pehle kya hai? What is the verse prior to that? Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamu payanti te. Uske pehle kya hai? Machchita mad gata prana bodhayantah parasparam kathayantasya mam nityam tushyanchita ramanchita. और उसके पहले क्या है? aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate. See, aham sarvasya prabhavo is at a stage of knowledge. Then Buddha bhava samanvita. You have started worshipping. Anathas are still there. Krishna is giving you intelligence how to go to him. And at the last, when Krishna says there is a sincere endeavor on your part to remove the aparadha, he wipes out, actually anarthas. Special mercy. So, destruction of anarthas and destruction of sinful reactions are 2 separate things. Don't mix them up.
So sinful reactions are karmas and anarthas are aparadhas.
No,
I'm confused actually.
Anarthas, are unwanted hankering. It is like a kuta. When with transcendental knowledge we don't act upon the kuta within our heart, it means we are not committing aparadha. But they are not still completely gone. Bharat Maharaj, at the stage of bhava, he became attracted to deer. And he stopped performing sacrifice to the sun god. Gayatri mantra chanting and offering, the water to the sun god. He stopped that because he became attracted. So there was a minus trace of anartha within his heart, and he acted based on that. Anarthas are completely destroyed only at the prema stage. Anarthas will make you perform sinful activity, will make you perform pious activities. Anarthas will make you follow the path of fruitive activity. Anarthas will make you go towards jnana path. These are all anarthas. It's nothing to do with sinful. Sinful reactions is as a result of performing an activity, what you will suffer or enjoy. But the inclination to perform, the activity is coming out of anarthas. Yes.
Probably like Vedanta Sutra, you said, is the commentary on the Vedas, no?
Yes.
And we have 18 Puranas and like that. So sometimes, like we have this verse from Padma Puran, Smartavyam Satatam Vishnu, Smartavyam Najatuchet. And Garud Puran has things like, if you say something in the ear of a cow, then that thing gets fulfilled. So sometimes as devotees, we want to know like secret things of the Vedas, the universe, because we have desires, spiritual desires also. So is it okay, because now in Mayapur, Sankirtan stall, here also they have 18 Puranas, and do you think it is okay to spend some time to read that or research after Vedas like that? Just one last thing. This one friend of mine knew.
Eko Shastra Devaki Putra Gitam.
Yeah.
Shankaracharya has answered that question.
Yeah.
Eko Shastra Devaki Putra Gitam. There is only one scripture. Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva. There is only one name. There is only one process. Unalloyed surrender and devotional service to Krishna. There is no need for you to do, because Krishna has extracted the essence of entire Vedas and Upanishads and put into Bhagavad-Gita. Why should you want to go back to Puranas? And whatever relevant slokas, from the point of view of understanding Bhagavad-Gita are there, they have been picked up by acharyas and put them in their commentaries, and Prabhupada used their commentary to produce Bhagavad-Gita as it is. So whatever slokas of Puranas that you need to know, Prabhupada has quoted here, and he has quoted in Bhagavatam. That should suffice. So there is a book called Srila Prabhupada's Slokas. Now in this book, you got, if you look at the index, almost all the important, the scriptures are actually there. Hari Bhakti Vilas and Garud Puran, and everything is there. Chanakya Samhita and everything. Prabhupada thinks what is important for you to develop perfect understanding of Gita. You don't need to go beyond this at all. But this will help you to understand this better. So he has done that job already. Why do you want to do it again? You only save time, correct? So I'm telling you back, save time. Yes, sir.
So as you mentioned, like all our sinful reactions goes away when we take initiation. But if somebody is not initiated, but still he's chanting the holy name, so means we have read in the scripture by chanting the holy name, our sinful reaction get minimized or vanish. So
the holy name, given to you at the time of initiation, there is a sloka in Padma Purana. They say that actually says that without parampara, unless the holy name is received through basically parampara, right? It doesn't empower you with the love of Godhead. But the holy name is powerful in itself. Right? If the doctor does not prescribe the medicine and you take it, right, the fever will go. Definitely the fever will go. So the holy name has a potency to liberate you. So it will liberate you, but it will not give you the Krishna prema. In order to get the Krishna Prema, you need to take shelter of bona fide spiritual master and receive the mantra from him. Because it is empowered. The holy name comes in a very, empowered way to you. It is coming through the bona fide discipline, this succession. So there is a difference between the one who chants without being initiated and one who chants with initiation. The one who chants without initiation, he can be liberated, but not to the spiritual world. He can be liberated from the influence of 3 modes of material nature. He will realize the futility of material existence. He will realize that I am not the body, I am the soul. And that, in that state, he will approach a bona fide spiritual master, take his shelter. At that state, the holy name will give him, just Krishna Prema. Don't worry. That's Krishna will not ignore any service. He doesn't believe in the formalities. But there is a structure he has established. Because otherwise, if you don't have, how will you sarva-dharmān parityajya ekam? Who will explain to you the purport of the Vedas without the spiritual master? We need spiritual master to understand. Otherwise, the Vedas will not become revealed to you. And you will not get the highest thing that the Vedas want to bestow upon you, that is Krishna Prema. Yes, sir. Yes, Prabhu.
Sarva-dharmān is we have to leave all the worship of demigods and the other things also which are mentioned. We have to leave everything and just surrender to Krishna. Means what type of surrender we have to do?
Loka dharma, Veda dharma, Deha dharma, karma. Listen to me. Loka dharma, social customs. Veda dharma, scriptural injunctions. Deha dharma, bodily demands. Karma, fruitive activities. Lajja, dhairya, deha sukha, atma sukha marma. Means, lajja means any types of inhibitions which should put us to the shame. We have to give up. For Krishna, we are willing to do anything. Lajja, dhairya. Patience also is basically the quality which is rejected. Lajja, dhairya, deha sukha, atma sukha marma, essence. Everything is rejected. I'm answering your question. What needs to be rejected? Right? Then just listen to this. Dustajya arya path, nija parijana. Give up varnashrama dharma and all your relatives. Swajane karaye tana. Tadana brastana. Even if our relatives are scolding us and punishment, quietly tolerate that. So, sarva-tyag kare, Krishnera bhajana. Krishna sukha kare, premera sevana. These are the gopis of Vrindavan. They exemplified the concept of the surrender. What needs to be given up? Loka dharma, Veda dharma, Deha dharma, karma, Lajja dhairya, Deha sukha, Atma sukha marma. Everything is given up. So that is the reason Krishna is completely sold. Krishna says, I can't reciprocate. You have given up everything for me. I can't give up everything. I am in such a position, I can't give up everything. So please consider that your own activities are the reward of your own activities are basically your own reward. Krishna is saying something like that. Yes, but I can't repay you. So you have to surrender everything to the extent that Krishna can't basically reciprocate. Krishna is saying, I failed. I can't reciprocate with gopis. They have completely conquered him. So that verse appears in the 4th chapter, 169 and to 171 of Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, where Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is glorifying the internal reasons for appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he speaks this verse which exemplifies the surrender of gopis. Sarva-dharmān parityajya. Very good question.
Um,
Yes.
Just I'm a bit confused about about this, like this line. It is written in the maybe third paragraph. That simple surrender unto Krishna will save him from unnecessary wasting time. One can thus make all progress at once. Like all progress at once. So
Atyati tatsvaram idam viditva. So, because you have performed all these activities in your previous life, that is another way to look at it. You come to the point of taking shelter of Krishna. Taking shelter of Krishna and getting association of devotees, eating the prasadam is not easy.
And living in Vrindavan Dham.
Yeah. Because you have performed all the austerities, you have gone through all the Vedic processes in your previous lives, you have amassed, that piety which makes you eligible to spend time in Vrindavan talking about Krishna. That you don't know, but Krishna knows. Probably I didn't understand your question. Can you repeat it?
actually, I was just wondering about it. Like one can free from all sinful activities, and there are process of the devotion, as mentioned, right? So I was just becoming confused about. Then all the process of devotion, reaching to the prema level, will all be like everything. All process will be completed at once. Like what does it mean? That what I wanted to understand.
Which processes will be completed?
Noda bhakti.
Uh-huh.
Noda bhakti. So all the process will be fulfilled at once, like only at once with this surrender. Like anybody can be surrendered in one moment itself. Like this was I was thinking.
At the stage of surrender, your bhakti begins.
So the stage will also come later, no?
Which one?
The stage of surrender, you said, or it can come even at this time, at this moment. Can the stage of surrender come this moment also?
Yeah, you have to be surrendered in your basically consciousness. Without retiring from any of your activities, you should be performing all activities for the pleasure of Krishna. Krishna sukha hetu kare premera sevana. Gopis, they are involved in all sorts of activities. If you see, they are simple cowherd women engaged in basically feeding their children and basically cooking for the relatives and everything. All activities are going on, right? But their consciousness is fixed on Krishna, and they want to do it for Krishna's pleasure.
So it could be simply done like within this time, right now, from like right now or something, this surrender could be done, like as stated.
Yeah.
It's very simple, it's just like no wasting of time, so.
You may be surrendered, right? But still basically the anartha nivrutti has to take place. The ruchi has to manifest. The asakti has to come. And basically bhava and prema has to come. And over the period of time it just manifests. Utsahan nishchayat dhairyat. It doesn't mean that everything will happen all at once.
So that's what I was confused with, because make all process at once, it is written no here. So that's why I was confused. Like one can just make all process at once and be freed from all sinfulness.
Means Vedeshu, study of the Vedas, the fruitive activities, Ashtanga yoga, giving charity, all that processes, the benefits are realized at once. Just by, just coming to and now your stage will start. Your anathas will be wiped out, you will develop a ruchi, you will develop asakti, bhava and prema over the period of time.
Now it's very clear.
Very clear?
Yes.
Good.
One more question.
Yes.
So just now you said that one has to give, the gopis gave the dharya also. But in nectar of instruction it is mokṣayiṣyāmi dharya.
That is for us, not for gopis. We are not gopis yet.
Yeah.
We are just preliminary students. So Rupa Goswami says, have patience, because we don't have patience. Utsahan nishchayat dhairyat. It's a long process. Have patience. But at that stage, when the prema is reached, there is no patience. I want to meet Krishna now.
And he has to come.
Yes.
Now the bhakti surrender is atam nivedanam in the last.
Yes.
Not in the beginning, in the last, atam nivedanam.
Yes.
So,
Begins with śraṇaṁ.
And you just surrender, everything will happen.
that's the
It
thing.
took me years.
That's the thing of surrender, no? Like that's surrender thing.
So the gopis are Atma Nivedana Bhakta. Akrura is doing Vandana. Sukdev Goswami is doing Shravana. Sukdev Goswami is doing Kirtanam. Parikshit Maharaj is doing Shravanam. Prahlad Maharaj is doing Smaranam. They are also Atma Nivedana Bhakta. They are also completely surrendered. But they are identified with particular anga of the bhakti more than others. But nobody is as surrendered as gopis. That is the fact. Gopis of Vrindavan.
Yatha Vrij Gopikanam. The topmost devotional service of the gopis.
Ye yatha mam prapadyante. One receives my mercy according to the degree of the surrender. So Sanatana Goswami composed a beautiful book called Brihad Bhagavatamrita, where Narad Muni goes in search of a devotee, pure devotee, who has received the maximum mercy of the Lord. And he begins with the Brahmana in Prayag, he goes to the king in South India, then he goes to Indra and Brahma, and then Shiva, and then Prahlad Maharaj, and then Hanuman, and then Pandavas, he meets Yudhishthir, Yadavas, and ultimately Gopis. Okay?
There are like many mellows, like for example Vatsalya Ras, Madhurya Ras. So gopis are considered the epitome for Madhurya Ras. So, but like in Vatsalya Ras, probably Yashoda Maya would be considered the epitome. So, but overall gopis are considered like the topmost devotees, like in all the rasas, in all the mellows, or just in Madhurya Ras?
In all the rasas, the devotee experiences the maximum happiness. So the devotee feels that he is the happiest of all. Even in the Dasya Rasa, he is not feeling short. Oh, I am not a gopi, right? But the gopis are feeling the highest. If you really measure the quantum of happiness, then the gopis are feeling the highest happiness, and they are giving the highest happiness to Krishna. So Madhurya Rasa is higher. But that doesn't mean that the other devotees are, feeling any less happiness. They are equally feeling great amount of happiness, and they are feeling we are the happiest. You understand that? Yeah. But they give highest, the satisfaction to Krishna.
So gopis are top
Gopis.
in all the rasas.
Madhurya Rasa, and the Vatsalya, Sakhya is included in Vatsalya. Sakhya and Vatsalya are both included in Madhurya. So that way, technically Madhurya is a higher rasa than all the rasas, and gopis are the epitome of that rasa. So they are giving highest satisfaction to Krishna. They are feeling highest bliss. But that doesn't mean that the devotee in the Dasya and Sakhya are feeling any less bliss. They are feeling they are happiest. But the total quantum of happiness experienced by gopis is higher than them.
So like Vatsalya Rasa, Yashoda Maya is considered very top.
Of course.
So if we were to compare gopis and Yashoda Maya, then we can say the gopis are experiencing they love Krishna more than Yashoda.
No. That would be the wrong conclusion. Their rasa is such that their rasa is giving them the highest, basically, the satisfaction out of their service. Yashoda can never become a gopi. And gopi can never become, the Yashoda. Because the rasa is different. And whatever, the transcendental mellow produces the happiness for, the Yashoda Maya, she feels she is most happy. She is completely satisfied. She doesn't want, actually anything more than what she is experiencing. So at an individual level, they are all, very, very happy. But gopis are experiencing the highest of all the happiness. So on a relative scale, they are the, yes, gopis are higher. But on an absolute scale, they are all feeling that we are as happy as the others. So they don't envy, just one another. Okay? Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavad-Gita ki Jai.